A very good afternoon, Father Joseph, Father Job, other faculty members of St. Antonius, my dear student friends. I'll talk to you about AI. Thank you very much for the invitation, and also for warm hospitality and reading my CV. I feel humble to speak after Father Job. Such a brilliant talk. But then AI is so close to my heart. Wherever I hear about AI, I just jump and I can't stay away. So when Providita rang me up saying, we are having an AI and technology seminar, I said yes. So artificial intelligence is something that's going to change our life in more ways than one could possibly imagine. Already, technological advances involving artificial intelligence, machine learning, are being increasingly used. And that use is going to get multiplied. The point that I want to make today is that if AI is to be used for humanity, AI is to be humanitarian, it's high time we separate the hype from the hope these technologies hold. The hype is killing most of the progress. So today I'll talk to you about challenges and opportunities in AI. But I have taken the liberty, before talking of these things, I have taken the liberty to take you through very quickly the history of artificial intelligence. The story of AI, if you want to look at it that way. The story of AI is the story of dreams and dreamers. People had long imagined machines that could have capabilities of humans. I would love to draw your attention to one particular book called Leviathan. Thomas Hobbes in Leviathan was the first person to imagine the possibility of artificial life. And it was in 1651 that he wrote, "Life is but a motion of limbs." So why may we not say that all automata are actually artificial life? And this, precisely for this reason, George Dyson, the science historian, actually in his book considers Thomas Hobbes to be the patriarch of AI, the father of artificial intelligence. Now, some 300 years later, Alan Turing wrote his paper, which Father Job had already told you about. Alan Turing's paper, published in the journal called Mind. The paper was called Computing Machinery and Intelligence. And Alan Turing started his paper with a question: can machines think? As you have already been told about this, I'll not go much into this, but all I would love you to take home is that this is the first philosophical question on what is intelligence. He then goes on to define what intelligence is, as you have been told in the previous keynote speech. But let me add, in spite of so much of hype and progress that we have made in the area, There's not a single program or a machine that has cleared an unrestricted Turing test as of today. Very different, weaker versions of Turing test have been cleared, but that's a different story. So, if you have to understand AI, if we have to understand what progress we made or what progress we are making, we have to separate the hype. AI is nowhere a threat to humanity as of today. What happens in the future? Yes, I agree with my previous speaker. We are at a very initial stages today to even make a very strong statement. So, just 6 years after Alan Turing proposed this question, can machines think? 10 people got together. Mervyn Minsky, Shannon, and many others, led by John McCarthy. And they had this summer research proposal called the Dartmouth Summer Research Proposal on AI, where for the first time the term artificial intelligence was coined. If you do a Google, you'll see that the term was coined by John McCarthy. At times you may get a wrong answer that McCarthy is the father of AI. This isn't a fact. Father of AI is Thomas Hobbes. Okay? Thomas Hobbes. Remember, I'm a teacher, so I'll stop in between and ask questions in the class. Okay? Habits die hard, so I'll not be a fluent speaker like my previous speaker. I'll just ask questions in between. Be prepared for that. And I'll check your notebooks of what you have written down to take home from this lecture. Okay, no, that's a joke. Okay, so come back to here. McCarthy was the one who coined the term. He got together and they came up with a very interesting hypothesis. They said intelligence or thinking process is so very procedural, so very systematic, that we can make a computer simulate the process. But then they were absolutely wrong, because all they were thinking of about thinking then was a very weak form of AI, which is just the symbol system hypothesis. Symbol system hypothesis is that any reasoning you do, you manipulate a set of symbols. Like in kindergarten, we have been doing this. My teacher says, you have 5 oranges, I take 3 away, how many you are left with? You do not have oranges with you, but you put your fingers. So a symbol set, you manipulate that symbol set, and you get the answer. So any intelligent behavior is symbol system hypothesis, according to symbol system hypothesis, is manipulation of symbols. And that restricted form of AI could be very well done by simulation in a machine. And that they thought they had cracked it. But 50 years later, we realize it's not that easy. Okay, but anyway, this idea of AI was growing. So what is AI? Let's try to answer that question first. Artificial intelligence is said to be demonstrated when a task that requires the ability to learn, so learning is the first ingredient there. If you have a machine that can learn, that can reason, and that can solve problems, but which type of problems? Problems which are solved by man, then we say that the machine is intelligent. So there is sensing. To learn, you have to sense the environment. So there is sensing, there is planning, and there is acting. So if you can do the sense, plan, act cycle, okay, and that cycle a machine can do very well, then the machine is said to be intelligent. So people started looking at this, that can we copy the sans plan cycle into machines to recreate intelligence? Stuart Russell and Peter Norvig were the first people to really look at it in close terms, and they came up with what is called the dimensions of AI. So they plotted these 4 different things: thinking, acting, rationality, humanly, okay, in the quadrants. And these 4 quadrants could give you 4 different flavors of the sense plan acting that you could be thinking of to recreate intelligence. So you could be thinking humanly and recreating intelligence. You could be thinking rationally, recreating intelligence, acting rationally, or acting humanly. Acting humanly would be the real humanoid robots that you saw in the previous lecture. Each of these quadrants that I have now drawn is actually a pathway to creating artificial intelligent beings or artificial intelligence systems. So let me take each of them very quickly. Number 1, when I say think like human, okay, what I mean is to model the human cognition. That would be a system that could model human cognition, would be a system that could be thinking humanly. Okay? So this idea comes from the cognitive revolution, information processing upsurge that we saw in the 1960s. And anything that could think like human would require scientific theories of internal activities of the brain. Without that, you cannot have a machine that could think like the human. The other dimension, the second one, think rationally, is about formalizing the inference process and draws its roots from the Greek schools of philosophy and logic, which is about deriving knowledge from existing knowledge. Like if I say Socrates is a man and then tell you that all men are mortal, you could use logic to really conclude that Socrates is mortal. So that would be intelligent behavior if I could recreate it in a machine. And that type of intelligence is about thinking rationally. That intelligence is aligned through mathematics and philosophy to modern AI. This group of AI that does manipulation, symbol system hypothesis, manipulation of symbols, use symbolic logic, is called symbolic AI, a complete different way of looking at AI. Later on in the lecture, I will talk of another group of AI called the connectionist AI, where the idea is to recreate the connections of the human brain using artificial neural or neuronal computational elements. That is called connectionist AI. So we have 2 distinct groups of AI. One, the symbolic AI, the other, the connectionist AI. Okay? So think rationally is about symbolic AI. The third one, do you remember? Act rationally, doing the right thing. That does not even involve thinking. Let me demonstrate it for you. I hold this glass of water, it slips from my hand. What do? I grip it tighter. I am acting rationally, doing the right thing. But am I thinking? People who have studied biology nicely in class 9 and 10 will remember that that does not even involve the brain. The command comes from your spinal loop. That's called bionic reflex. So thinking rationally, doing the right thing, doing it at the right moment, okay, does not necessarily involve thinking. Yet you could be intelligent. So thinking, can machines think and therefore be intelligent, is also not that simple. So both John McCarthy, Alan Turing begin the journey of AI for us, but then our realization today is AI is more complex than what they must have thought at their times. Far, far more complex. Okay? Finally, act like human, exhibit human behavior. Sophia there. Okay? So is that a human? Is that intelligent? You create machines that performs functions that require intelligence when the same tasks are performed by people. Okay? That underlines the Turing test of intelligence to defining what is intelligent behavior. So these 4 dimensions of AI, very early on people realize that any form of intelligence will require knowledge. Any form of intelligence will require knowledge, and knowledge comes through a process of learning. You learn and you gather knowledge only when you learn things. Okay? There is nothing like he is very sharp and I am dull. No. He explores more than you and therefore he learns more than you. Okay? So knowledge accrues through a process of learning. That realization led to the idea of AI, where machines could be given the ability to explore. Machines could be given the ability to explore the world and acquire the requisite knowledge on their own for problem solving. And this led to the idea of machine learning with an artificial intelligence. This drives the idea of machine learning. Have you heard the term? Yes? Good. So machine learning is a subset of AI. Don't get carried away with the hype. Let me repeat it in spite of being very cliche here. The point that I'm trying to make is these technologies have a lot of hope. But if I have to use the hope, exploit the hope of these technologies for doing good, I must separate it out from the hype created around these technologies. Okay? So don't get carried away with this hype of machine learning where you go and buy your washing machine, they say this is AI enabled. There is nothing in that AI, that washing machine that is AI. All that it has is a group of sensors. Okay? Having a group of sensors, does that fall in any of the 4 divisions that I made? No. So that's not AI. Just leave it out. Okay? So that is what you should remember. Machine learning is one thing that we are getting carried away. We should not. We should think of machine learning as a realization that I should have knowledge for intelligence. Intelligence requires knowledge, and that knowledge has to come through learning, and that learning I have to have a system for machines to do, and that's what drives machine learning. Okay? So how many of my listeners here are from humanities and liberal arts? Nobody? No liberal science? No philosophy people here? Nobody from School of Philosophy? Logic? So this is your responsibility, okay? Go back and engage people from philosophy, logic and humanities is into AI, because what I'm going to say next is all about this, okay? So machine learning, even if we hear the term so much today, is an old story. The term was introduced by Arthur Samuel in his 1959 paper. Arthur was a professor at Stanford, and IBM machines were not selling. So IBM came to Arthur saying, please help us make something that the company survives. So Arthur had this idea of playing a game of checkers against a computer. He went live on television playing checkers against an IBM 700 machine. Okay? Sometimes Arthur won, sometimes the computer won. Next day morning, people got a purpose for IBM 700. They knew computers could be used for playing games. And IBM survived a bankruptcy. Okay? So that is how things move. Things you plan, they do not move the way you plan. So don't worry about that. But what Arthur did give us is the idea that machines could develop. So after Arthur, people had tried to give different ideas to what is machine learning. So since you are from all computer science, let me try to define machine learning for you. So machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence that gives the ability of machines to learn. When I say learn, they change algorithms on the fly. So you start with one algorithm, A, you on the fly go to another algorithm, A plus. Okay? And then you go to another algorithm, A star. So you've changed the algorithms on the fly, depending on what is coming to you. Okay? So then there was deep learning, which is another subset of AI, where artificial neural networks are being used. Mostly computational intelligence, stated as an attempt to mimic artificial nervous system. So you can look up this. But my idea to tell you this is because of the very fact that I want you to take home this slide. You should remember this from our discussion today. AI is the superset. Within AI, we have machine learning. The idea that computers can learn given a task. Okay? People realize that learning could be more connectionist than symbolic. So trying to copy the brain led to the development of what are called artificial neural networks, or ANNs, or neural networks. So in the initial phases, neural networks would be stacked only 3 at a time. I would have an output layer, I would have an input layer, and a layer in between. People didn't know how to manage beyond that. Okay? Beginning 2010, people knew how you could put layers and layers here and yet do the mathematics. Okay? Yet do the computation. So that gave rise to this idea called deep learning. Deep here refers to the fact that you do not have anymore just a single layer between 2 layers of networks. You can recreate connections as in hierarchies as you want, but yet you never reach the connectivity of the brain. Okay? The connectivity of the brain is so exciting because the moment I'm speaking to you, many of my neurons are getting replenished. Many old ones are dying out. Many are getting replaced. That type of self-reconfigurable machines we are not able to make, even if we are making huge networks, okay, of deep learning. So deep learning is exciting. That's changing the way things are. But as Father Job showed you in the previous talk, yet we are not reaching the complexity of the human brain. Okay? Because the connections of the brain are so complex. I'll show you something I do with the brains directly. Okay? Little down the line. But then, that is what makes things exciting. Okay, so that's deep learning for you. So, if you go back from my talk, you should be able to tell ML is a subset of AI. Within ML, you have brain-inspired system, which are called neural networks. That gives rise to this idea of AI called connectionist AI, which have deep learning in it. Okay? People realize that our networks are not just static networks. They change over time. And therefore, there is temporality there. So these networks, artificial neural networks, have no idea of time in them. Spiking neural networks are a newer version of network connectivity via computers that we are trying to create artificially with temporal knowledge in them. So spiking neural networks are ones that they can better represent what we have within our brain. Right? So as we are making progress in the human evolution, we are making progress in AI. But the progress in AI is minuscule compared to the progress that we have made as a human race. So this idea that your principal was talking about, that AI would overtake, okay? The point of singularity, when our progress and AI's progress meet, and AI's progress line goes higher than ours, is the point where AI would take over us. That point of singularity is far, far away. We are nowhere near to that point of singularity. That point is far, far away. Okay? Not in your lifetimes, I could see. Not in my, of course. But not in your lifetimes is that point there, I could see. And why I am talking of that is because if you look out at this huge progress in our road to the future, okay? This is a slide that I love and I spend half an hour, so you have to warn me to move ahead. Okay? Look at this. Human race, hunting society we were at one point of time. We made progress, became a society largely dependent on agriculture. Industrial society. Today we talk of information society. But I want all of you to look beyond this. Today, if you see, we talk of information society. I want you to look beyond this and look at something called Society 5.0. What is Society 5.0? For that, let me take you back to something called Industry 4.0. Have you heard of it? No? So Industry 4.0 or Society 4.0 is a German term that is now worldwide accepted. It's about our life that revolves around information. So we are an information society where information binds us. Okay? Information binds us. And everything that you do is dependent on the computer. That computer drives a lot of information for you. Without that, you cannot live. So we are in Society 4.0 today. Like your admission is online, your classes most of the time, your teacher sends things to WhatsApp. Meta is something that a little while ago has been told. You can visit your psychologist is today in Hyderabad, in Kerala, in Bombay. You do not visit psychiatrists physically. You can visit on their metaverse. You go to their metaverse and talk to their avatar, and we are living in an information society. Okay. But then this information society is going to come and be so very intermixed with our own living that the distinction between the physical world and the cyber-physical world will diminish. It's diminishing very fast, but at one point of time it will diminish. It will be impossible to separate out these two lives. Okay? And that society in which we are going to enter very fast is Society 5.0. Society 5.0 is a concept from Japan, where Japanese government is already pushing forward. In fact, they have completed 5 years of Society 5.0 preparation. Only yesterday, Secretary DST Government of India has used the term Society 5.0 for India. Okay? So that is where we are. We are moving towards society 5.0, where everything that we have seen digital today will be part of your life. And within that you have to live. So what are the things that are going to change? The new society that you are going to live is society 5.0. Robotics, artificial intelligence, Internet of robotic things will be part and parcel of your life. So if I ask you today, are you using anything on Internet of Things? Yes or no? What? Huh? What? See, that is where it is. You should remember, the ATM machine is the first Internet of Things that you are using. The ATM machine, day in, day out you are using. Okay, it was conceived as an IoT device, Internet of Things. So it has become part and parcel. When I talk of Internet of Things, you are thinking of something else. Not the ATM that you so very use every day in and day out. That is what is going to change. Okay, that is what is going to change. The new society 5.0 would be so ingrained in AI, robotics, and Internet of robotic things that if I have to live in that society, I must embrace IoT, AI, and robots. Without that, I will be left out. Okay? And that's why I love this seminar that you are having today. You must be aware of where we stand and what contributions can we make. And most important for me as a person is separating the hype from the hope these technologies hold. There is lot of hype and lot of ill-informed hype created by media, created by science fiction movies, okay? But there is lot of hope. And as people from sciences, people involved in computing, you should be able to separate the hype from the hope these technologies hold. And that's very, very important. That's very important. Okay? So within this context, I will give you some developments that are happening at a level that's broadly covering 3 areas: education, health, industry. And then if time allows, I don't know what time I have to stop, you just tell me 1 more minute and I'll wind up. So if time allows, I'll show you some research that I do within these areas. But that's not important. Okay? What is important is the take home for this lecture should be your concept of AI should be more broader. You should think of AI as encompassing all of these tricks and trades, not only the hype that's shown on the televisions. And you should think of a society that we are going to step into, society 5.0, where the difference between the physical world and the cyber physical world will not be there. Will not be there. And that's going to come in our lifetime. In my lifetime at least. I am not very sure, but of course you people are going to be living in society 5.0. So let's look at different things happening in AI and education. You could see really time saving for teachers, AI being used, AI tutors to assist students. They are so not very exciting for me to even mark here because all of these you know. Okay? AI can enhance your health, help teachers become more interesting motivators, and AI-driven functionality can give feedback to students and educators. But that's not important for me. What is more important is that AI brings in inclusivity. What I mean is AI or education through AI powers sustainable development. And that's what you people as educators of tomorrow should take home. That education as a technology, exploring AI, exploiting AI, you could make it more inclusive, more sustainable. Okay? What do you mean by inclusive or sustainable is the fact that in spite of the digital divide, if you could think of AI technologies that could reach education to the poorest of the poor, that is what AI should be used for. Okay, and that is what AI is doing today. The impact of AI for inclusive learning is huge, In fact, virtual teaching assistants, multilingual chatbots, adaptive learning management system, AI-powered test generation evaluation, all of these is bringing in inclusive learning of AI. And that's what is something that we should focus on, rather than the cosmetic use of AI. So I really get depressed and saddened when I go to places and see AI being used in educational establishments for teaching. The principal takes me around, but it's more cosmetic. My request to you all would be, please think of exploiting AI for inclusive education. Inclusive. In fact, let's take one example, like adaptive learning management systems. AI can be used for extending your classroom beyond the classroom hours. Your student can take home whole of your lecture in his mobile phone, do it multiple times if he is a slow learner, stop at points where he is not getting it, doing it again, and you getting direct feedback on what the student is or how the student is progressing. Okay? That would be better delivery than just using AI to deliver the lecture for 40 minutes and showing some brilliant AI-generated animations. Okay, so that you have to remember, that you have to take home. Okay, so AI for inclusive education is something that I really push hard for. Okay, so in terms of industry 4.0, where are we? And I love this because we are in the age of digitization and integration. A lot of things are being digitized across India, across the world, but we are forgetting that the human is still the leader of all this show. And all these machines, therefore, should come as our collaborators. And that's why I enjoyed your talk. They should come as our collaborators. I see AI not as artificial intelligence. I see AI as augmented intelligence. Augmented. They augment our capabilities. They augment our efficiency. They augment our working style, work environment. And that is why AI is so very exciting for me. The cyber-physical systems that we explore, okay, today, the cyber-physical systems that we live in today, like there is a communication, control, and computation element, all of these coming together through information. That's where we live today. And within that space, the digitization and integration happening is fine, but all of these elements should come for collaboration. So we have an area where my work falls in an area called cobotics. Have you heard the term? No? Cobotics is collaborative robotics. Robots we generate, but robots that are either collaborating with human beings or just part of the human being. So I work in an area called robotic neurorehabilitation, where I look for using parts of robots in the human body to rehabilitate people. Somebody lost an arm, I make the arm. But that arm is still controlled by the brain. Okay, nothing independent from the human body. So robots for me need to be collaborative. AI needs to be collaborative. They need to augment our workspace capabilities, not replace us. Fine? So these are emerging technologies. One technology where I am very proud to present to you is digital twin, where the world leader is a Tata company called Tata Voltas. Digital twins are emerging technologies of Society 5.0, where you would buy an AC and forget about it. All of the service of the AC would be done by a person sitting in Pune, not by looking at your AC, but by generating operational data and many other data for that machine based on a digital twin model that he has of your AC in his Pune office. So his Pune office digital twin is running, and it is running fine. He is sure your AC at your home is running. Okay? And the world leader for this is Tata Voltas, for its chillers, of industrial chillers across the world. Okay? So these are things that are exciting. In the world of medicine, many of you may be wearing wellness bands. All of these are very, very exciting. How am I doing at time? Should I stop now or should I continue? Huh? You still have time. I still have time? Okay, good. Just ask me to stop, okay? I get carried away. So the point that I'm trying to make is today AI is making a huge impact in healthcare. Okay? In terms of diagnosis, in terms of clinical decision support, in terms of care delivery. So in terms of decision support, AI enabled radiologists. So radiologists, you have to remember this. The clinical support is only given. The clinician is not replaced. So we have a radiologist supported by AI which can do very, very exciting diagnosis. So these sort of medical imaging, where rarest of rare diseases could be found, because a radiologist may not be able to look at the huge amount of data that's being generated, whereas as a AI program could, and give support to him to really look at this. One idea is the automated patient monitoring, where IoT has given a big space for patient monitoring happening. Okay? And this has given a lot of ideas to people during the COVID times, where monitoring of patients was automated. That's AI. But what I love most about AI today is the world of robotic surgery, where the surgeon no longer needs to plan the complete surgery in his brain. Okay? He can come to the surgery table, go there, run the surgery in virtual AI, recreate it by his own hands there. Okay? So then, if he had a huge problem that was overloading his brain while he was registering and trying to remember, he may forget the left or the right kidney and do a mistake. But here, that is taken away. Okay? So these type of AI systems is what I think is something that we need to push for as we are moving forward. The market leader here is a company called Da Vinci, in honor of Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci actually was the first person to have very detailed diagrams of humanoids. Okay, and nobody knows if he could make these humanoids, but many people have recreated humanoids based on his sketches. So in honor of him, this company Da Vinci Robots makes surgical robots, and this is a world leader. We have surgical robots in India, many of them, and we have 3 robots in Northeast India. 3 surgical robots in Northeast India. You may not be aware of. Good. Stay away from this, because they do very complex surgeries. So slicing of kidneys is one, where human error because of shaking of hand or something is prone to slicing of kidneys, or extraction of cancer cells from the esophagus is being done by robots today. And this is with autonomy 3.0, Now you people may be confused. What is autonomy 3.0? As we are making progress with AI and the human intelligence, we have developed a level of autonomy for the machines. Autonomy 0 means the machine is directly under my control. Autonomy 1.0 is when the machines can take some trivial decisions, like repeating this 3-4 times, going in a straight line. Autonomy 2.0 is decisions based on sense data with the help of somebody sitting behind. Autonomy 3.0 means decision based on sense data and planning, some amount of planning. We have not yet reached autonomy 4.0 and we will never reach autonomy 5. Okay, at least is in the next 50 years. So that type of thing, all these robots, even if we are calling it robotic surgery, the most sophisticated is autonomy 2.0. 3.0 is only in the research labs. Okay, so with that, if you see the progress, we have to look at how things have changed in the last few years. And as we move to society 5.0, we have to really think of AI, and AI will be seen as a tool that will free us from the burdensome work. AI has to be seen as a tool where it will connect us with other people to share our expertise. AI has to be seen as a tool that will overcome social issues, that will bring in inclusivity. Okay? AI has to be seen as a tool that will open up possibilities for the human intelligence to expand itself, so that we never reach that point of singularity where AI takes over us. So that is something that we need to remember. Okay? So with that, I think I will stop, and if you have any questions, I would be pleased to take.
Audience, if any of you have questions towards sir, kindly raise the question, because as sir's been saying, he loves questions after the session is being
Otherwise I'll ask questions. Teacher, no, I'm joking.
Sir, I have a question. Since you said that you are working on neuro-controlled.
Yes, yes.
So just like to highlight, if you could say what exactly, how do you achieve it, like controlling or an amputation with the neuro controls?
So we work on 2 areas. I just skipped that because I didn't want to say that. I work on something called hand exoskeletons, and I work on something called bionic. This is from my lab. Both of these are from my lab. So bionic prosthetics, how do we control? We take signals from the brain or from the muscles, depending on if a person has had an amputation just within 15 years, he retains the signals from the brain still to the muscles for 15 years. So we can use the signals from the muscles, and we exploit algorithms from machine learning, where we do something called classification, see how he is thinking of, what he is thinking of doing, and then join them together to recreate. So we have we take signals from, let me just go back one slide. This is bad. I can go there. That will work. Okay. So yeah, this slide will be good. So we take signals from the muscles, the EMG. This is electromyogram, signals from the muscles, and then we use some form of machine learning algorithms where we classify what type of grasp he is thinking of. So usually in our daily life, 75% of the time we use only 6 grasps. Okay, there is a lot of literature on that. So we recreate this 6 grasps for the human being. So if this small video runs, so there it is, one of my students working, and he is trying to recreate just from these 2 muscles for an amputee that has arrived in our lab, and we retain this. So this hand will be done put into the computer. The signal from the muscles just using machine learning algorithms, AI and ML. And this is a stroke patient being given exercise. Now you may wonder why AI needs to give exercise to a stroke patient instead of a physiotherapist. Am I taking a physiotherapist's work away? No, I am not. A physiotherapist doesn't know how much to give or what speed he is working on. So we use machine learning in AI to understand what is the recovery rate and adjust the amount of exercise depending on that. Amount of exercise depending. And that exploits what is called retention of residual skills and assistance as needed. So if you are very kind, if your friend or family is suffering, do not be so kind to help him to an extent that he loses his residual skills. That is very important, retention of residual skills. So my machines exploit retention of residual skills and does assistance as needed, minimal one. And that we exploit ML and AI. So for that we read signals from the brain called electroencephalogram. For this we read signals from the muscles called electromyogram, and we use algorithms from AI and ML. Very simple algorithms that are taught in the classroom, but tuned to each human body. So here is one of my students in the lab, sitting with a headgear, taking EEG signals. Yeah.
So a question from me. What about the hype around generative AI? What do you have to say about that?
This is a question that is so exciting. I was just having a chat there while in tea as well. The hype around generative AI. So people who are not very sure, like one of the example could be ChatGPT. Is that what you are hinting at? Yeah, okay. So here I have a deep learning system. First you have to understand what is a generative AI system. I have a deep learning system where I give a training from one side. This training side does the training, but then I'm not satisfied. I give an opposite side challenge problem. So these two are working together. This gives challenges, this gives training, this gives challenges, this gives training. So I have two systems working. Now under this system, my generative AI systems can generate text, audio, video, whatever you want, and it learns. But the point is, and this is very important, the point is, it can only learn for what it has been trained. Okay, it can learn what it has been trained. So there are two very exciting papers published just last week. One from a professor in the US, that's about planning. If you plan keeping A over B and B over C, and then ask me to take out A, I know I have to take out this first and then this and then the last one. Okay, so planning is one problem which we do very nicely because that's how our intelligence grows. And that's why as parents we give blocks wall to children to play around with because they plan. So generative AIs cannot do planning in real time until you do the blocks wall training for them. Okay, that's very exciting. Another exciting paper that has come up is a paper from a group called Spatial Reasoning in Leeds, where you look at relationships between objects and objects. Like all of us are sitting within this room. So we are part of this room. Tomorrow if there is a seminar here, we are again part of this room. But in between you may not be part of this room. So we are part against after every day. So are we a part of this room? That's a question. Okay? Such type of questions generative AIs are not able to do. Because these type of questions comes from logical thinking, not training alone. Okay? So generative AI is a powerful tools because of the very fact that the learning model is across. You have a challenger, you have a trainer. You have a challenger, you have a trainer. But only for things that's being trained. So if you want, you can do the following. You go to openai.com, all of you, open ChatGPT there. All it will ask you is for your Google Gmail. Give it, no problem. Okay? My mobile has it, so you can try on my mobile during lunch if you want. So then give a question. Okay? The ChatGPT version that's available freely on OpenAI is trained up to, have you tried? 21. So give something from yesterday. It will say, I have not been trained for this. Okay? You give a reverse question. Generative AI, the easy version, this free version, you give a reverse question. If it has been trained for X is the father of Y, you give it a reverse prompt saying, who is Y's son? Generative AIs will fail on that. It will say, I have not been trained on that. So that's my take on generative AI. People would not love it because I am from a group which believes that generative AI is not what the AI is. So there is this question of general AI and narrow AI. When Nielsen and Herbert Simon, McCarthy and all started this program, they wanted a general AI. A general AI would be an AI, if you take up a physics book problem, give it, it can solve it. Okay. But deep learning and the progress that we had made around 2012 pushed us to what we call narrow AI today. For a very particular problem, a very particular solution. When are we going to get back to general AI? Nobody knows. Or have we lost general AI? Nobody knows. And general AI is something which would be a man, nothing sort of it. Or a woman, if you want to call it that way. Nothing sort of it. But that's not coming.
Audience, anyone else would like to ask a question, sir?
Hello, sir. I'm Zephaniah from MCA, and I just wanted to ask about Elon Musk's Neuralink. How feasible is it in terms of use and safety and all its features?
Okay. So me sitting in Northeast India in a small lab, not even 12 by 12, can use neural links. So Elon Musk is a big person, right? So these are neural link data from my lab, which I have not shown you. Let me go back and check if I have one. This is one that's controlled directly from the brain by a neural interface. This is a completely paralyzed person, unable to move his hands. So his neuromuscular link is lost. We are drawing the commands directly from the brain, giving it directly to the machines. And he is able to move thumbs and all. And then after a few days, he will be able to do it on his own because the brain is so exciting that it will generate new pathways. Given these new old pathways with lost pathways, it will forget and it will generate new pathways. So that's called neuroplasticity. So Neuralink as a technology is feasible. Neuralink, you can of course read commands. We are reading commands and trying to send this. So we are looking at the brain. We are asking brain to be an actor. We are not leaving at that. We are also looking at signals from the brain to guess what is his mental state as a sensor. Is he excited? Is he depressed? If he is depressed, my adaptation module gives something more to the mediator. He is depressed, so he is not doing it. So I give it from my side. He is excited, doing it more. So I come down, increase the viscosity of that system. Increase the friction of that system. Okay, depending on what I am trying to move. So Neuralink as a technology is possible. It is very much possible. And reading brains is exciting. So this patient, we were trying to read his brain, how his bloods are, blood domain is. So this is his blood. I did not show you this. So if I asked him to just observe other people, he was getting excited. If I was asking to imagine, he was even getting excited than observing others. So I made my student do it and he imagined. So his blood flows almost normalized. So Neuralink can be put to such uses. And it's not dangerous. But then if you want to use Neuralink to control my brain process, that's also possible. And that's dangerous. So the pick is yours. What do you want to pick it up for? Yeah, so Neuralink is feasible. We use technologies like Neuralink. Ours is surface. Elon Musk is invasive. But that hardly matters. Feasible technology, you can use it. But where you use it depends on what you want to do. Yeah.
So that is the last question that we can take. But if you want to reach out to Sir, you can visit IIT Guwahati website. The full profile about Sir is there, so you can reach out to him. So, anyways, Sir, thank you so much for your your lecture, for telling us about the exciting world of AI with regards to its challenges and opportunities. And rest assured, young people, your jobs, if you're looking for jobs, it is still safe. AI is not going to take over completely. But you can be a collaborator in the growth of AI. So you can be a contributor in Society 5.0. So you build AIs that are collaborating. So please be safe with the assuring words that Sir has given. So Sir, thank you so much for your presentation. Please, a round of applause to Sir, please.